Welcome in the 21st episode. Today we will implement additional feature in our game, the hints. So the hints will give a player additional number on the board after player watch the advertisement. If you want to help support this channel, hit the subscribe button below this video, turn on notification so you will not miss any future content I release. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, let's open our project and let me quickly show you what we're gonna do. So when you start the game, let's go to the easy mode. We're gonna place additional button here, the hint button. After player press this button, there will be full screen advertisement, the rewarded ad displayed, and after the player finish watching this advertisement, he will be rewarded with the correct number, which will appear in the random empty square. Okay, so let's first of all go to our scripts folder, and then let's go to the ad manager. So inside this class, we need to first of all add the implementation for the rewarded ad. So below my interstitial ad, I will put private rewarded ad, and let's call it hint rewarded ad. So now let's scroll down to the start method, and below our create interstitial ad, let's call it this dot create rewarded ad, and we're gonna pass exactly the same. So create request ad. So we don't have this function yet, so let's quickly, I will just copy this name and let's quickly scroll down above our interstitial ad, and we're gonna add additional region. So let's put hash region, and then I will call it rewarded ad, and then end region. Okay, and in between this region, we're gonna first of all put public void create rewarded ad, and we need to pass the ad request, and I will call it request. And inside this create rewarded ad function, let's call this dot hint rewarded ad will be equal to new rewarded ad, and we need to pass our rewarded ad ID. So we don't have this ID yet, so let's scroll right at the top, and below our public string interstitial unity ID, let's put public string, and it's gonna be the rewarded ads ID. Okay, so we're gonna assign this ID from our inspector. So let's copy this name, let's scroll down to our create rewarded ad function, and then let's paste our rewarded ads ID here. Okay, then below let's put this dot hint rewarded ad dot load ad, and we want to pass request. Okay, so that's it for this function. Let's right below, let's add another one. So public void show rewarded ad, and inside this function we want to check if this dot hint rewarded ad dot is loaded. If it's loaded, we want to do the this dot hint rewarded ad show. Okay, and then let's put one more function, public bool is rewarded ad loaded. Okay, and this function we just simply return this dot hint rewarded ad dot is loaded. Okay, so now let's scroll right at the top to our start method, and we have already created this rewarded ad, so we have created our ad, and now let's use some events. So right below I will put the hint rewarded ad dot on user earned reward, plus equal, and I will just call this function on user earned hit reward. So we don't have this function yet. I will create it in a second, but let me first put another, assign to another callback. So hint rewarded at dot on at opening plus equal on user earned hint at opening. Okay, so that's how I'm gonna call it. So we have subscribed to this event. Let's now unsubscribe it. So we're gonna unsubscribe it from the onDestroy method. So I will use this shortcut onDestroy. So we can use the Ctrl+Shift+M and then search for the function, or you can just type it yourself, it doesn't really matter. So I'm just gonna copy these two lines of codes, put it here, and then make sure you put the minus. Okay, and now we need to implement those two functions. So first one, I will use the shortcut to create this function below. So this is the first one, and let me do the same for the second one. Okay, so we have those two functions. You can type it yourself, or you can use the shortcut to create it. I'm using the ReSharper plugin, so for me it might be a bit easier, but if you don't have any plugin installed in the Visual Studio, you can just type it yourself, the same what you see on the screen. Okay, so in this function, we want to call our game events, but we don't have a game events created yet. So let's quickly go to our game event class. Okay, and then let's scroll right at the bottom. And then I will just call this board completed method, board completed event. Let me copy it and then paste it below. And I'm just going to rename it to be give a hint. Give a hint. Let's replace all of the names on give a hint, on give a hint method, and then copy this. So the first event will be give a hint, and then the second one, we want to copy it again, paste it below, and this one will be give a hint at opening. Give a hint at opening, so let's rename everything. Okay, on give a hint at opening method, and we need to copy this one now, paste it here, paste it here. Okay, so this is two events which we need, so make sure you add this one to your project. Let's save everything now, and now let's go back to our ad manager, and then inside the ad manager, on user earned hint at opening, maybe this is not the best name, but you can name it yourself however you like. I'm gonna call the game events dot on give hint at opening method. Okay, so this function will be indicate that user have tapped the button, and then the rewarded ad has been displayed. So at this time we can just disable the button. And then from here we want to call our game events dot on give hint method. Okay, so this function will be triggered when player have watched the whole rewarded ad, and then we want to reward our player with additional number on the board. Okay, so let's save everything now. Make sure you put those two implementation in. And now let's go to our Sudoku grid, and then let's scroll down to the onEnable function. OnEnable, okay. Inside the onEnable function, we want to call the game events dot on give a hint plus equal, and I will just call it give a hint. Give a hint is actually like that, and then I will just duplicate this function and move it down to the onDisable, and make sure you unsubscribe from here. And now we can create this function. So again, I'm gonna use the shortcut. So actually, okay. So this is just simple private void, give a hint, and I just created below the onDisable method. So let's just remove this line. Okay, so inside this function, we first of all want to find all of the squares which does not have a number assigned yet. So I'm gonna store all of the indexes for the squares inside the list. So var, let's call square indexes will be equal to new list of int. Okay, and then let's put a loop. So for var index is equal to 0, index is less than the grid squares dot count. Make sure you put the underscore at the end because we're using the class variable, and then index plus plus. Okay, and inside this for loop, first of all, we want to capture our component. So var, I will call it comp, will be equal to grid squares at index dot get component, and we want to get the grid square. Grid square, that's right. And then we want to check if the comp dot get square number is equal to 0, and comp dot get has default value is equal to false. Okay, make sure you put double equal sign, and then if this is true, we want to call the square indexes dot add, and we want to add our index. Okay, so we find all of the squares, and then we want to check. So if we don't have any empty square in our board, so we do not have any empty square, so if the square indexes.count is equal to 0, we just want to return. Okay, so we don't want to do anything. Otherwise, we want to create a variable var random index will be equal to unity engine dot random dot range, and we want to get from 0 to our square indexes dot count. So we're gonna select random square from the list which we have, and then we want to call var square index will be equal to square indexes at random index. Okay, so make sure you put this line, and then we want to call the grid squares at our square indexes. So I will just copy this dot get component grid square dot set correct value on hint. Okay, we don't have this function. We're going to implement this function in a second. So now we need to switch to our grid square. So let's go to the grid square class, and then let's go to the function onSetNumber. So is here, and above this function I'm gonna call public void set correct value on hint. So this is the function from our grid square class which we was missing. So as you see, our function is okay now. Make sure you put the same name. And now we need to reorganize our onSetNumber. So we want to split this function into two. So the way we're going to do it, we're going to copy everything from within this F statement. So I will just highlight all of these lines. Hopefully you can see it correctly. So this F statement is finished on these braces. So I'm just gonna take all of this body. I will cut it, and then below I will put private void set square number, and we want to pass int number. Okay, and I will just paste everything inside this function. So it's nothing really changed. I just took the body out of this F statement and just put it into a separate function. And now we can actually get this function to be called from our onset number. So I will just copy this name, paste it here, and then we want to pass our number. So in terms of the behavior, nothing has changed. Everything is exactly the same. We just split the logic up. And then we can, because we did this, we can get this set square number, and we can call it from the set correct value on hint. So I will just paste this function here, and then we want to pass our correct number. Okay, so that's it, what we have to do from this class. So now, as you see from our grid square, Sudoku grid, if we're gonna execute this function, we're gonna set the correct value on our square. So there is one more thing to do. So let's quickly save everything. Let's go back to Unity, and then inside our Unity, let's go to the scripts object, right click, create C# script, and this script will be called give a hint button. Okay, and then let's open this script. Okay, so first of all, I will just get rid of all of these comments, and then we don't need the update method. And then right at the top, let's put attribute, so required component, and I will put type of button. Okay, so when you put the button, make sure you add it using Unity Engine UI. If you take this line off, the button will be not recognized. So make sure you add this using statement, and then right at the top, I will call private button, and then let's cache this button. So in the start method, I will put button will be equal to get component button, and then button dot on click dot add listener, and then we want to put our function. So inside this add listener, I will put on button clicked. So we don't have this function yet, we're going to implement it in a second. But first of all, below, let's put button dot interactable will be equal to true. Okay, let's implement this onClick button function. So I will copy this name. Below the start method, I will put private void on button clicked. As you see, everything is fine now. And then if application dot is editor, we want to call our game events dot on give a hint method. So if we are playing in the editor, we don't want to show any advertisement because it's just for us. We want to quickly test our game, so we're gonna just call this on give a hint method. But then if you upload the game on the mobile device, we of course gonna use the test advertisement. So otherwise, we want to request our ad. So ad manager dot instance dot show rewarded ad. Okay, make sure you call this. And then we want to add two more functions. So I will use the shortcut Ctrl Shift M, and I will put on enable I will tick this one, and then on disable, you can type it yourself if you like. So inside those two functions, let me first of all call the game events dot on give a hint opening at opening plus equal. I will just copy this name and paste it here. Okay, and actually we need to put inside the on disable, we need to put minus. Okay, so probably better to reorder these functions and make sure the on enable is above, so we don't make any mistake. And then let's copy this line of code and move it to the on enable and make sure you put the plus in. Okay, so now we need to implement this function. I will use this shortcut. Okay, let's move this function down like that. And then inside this function, we just want to make our bottom interactable set to false. So bottom dot interactable will be equal to false. Okay, and that's pretty much it what we have to do from the code. So here it is, the whole implementation. Let's save everything. And now let's go to our Unity. Okay, let's go to the scenes, game scene, and then under the canvas, let's right click UI bottom, and I will call this bottom get a hint. Get hint. Let's move this get hint button above the game over pop-up, otherwise this button will be rendered on the top of our pop-ups, so make sure it is above. And then let's change the color of this button. So actually let's first of all change the size of the button. So I will set this button to be 200 by 100. You can apply any graphic you like to this button. And then I will change the color of this button. So I will select this color, I will select this speaker, and then I will just get the same color as my background. Okay, then let's move this button on the Y position up, and to the side I will place my button here. Then let's go to the text component now. So select the text, I will just put text get hint. Let's change this text to be bold. Make sure it's positioned in the middle, and then font size is 14, and I will just select best fit checkbox, so our text is resized to the button. And then let's change the color of this text to be white. Okay, so that looks okay. Now let's go back to the button, get hint. Let's go to our scripts, grab our give a hint button and drop it here. Okay, so make sure this script is attached to our get a hint. And now we can go to the file and then save. Go to the scenes, let's go to the main menu, press play. Let's go to our easy mode, and now when you hit the get hint, as you see the number is appearing on the screen. So the random number is appearing, so in the editor mode, if you keep hitting this get hint button, at some point you will complete the full board. But this is not gonna happen in the real world. And as you see, everything works fine, the pop-up is displayed, and I have completed my game in 21 seconds. There is actually one more thing which we need to do before we uploading our game on the mobile device. So let me clear all of these messages. And now let's inside our main menu, we have to select our advertisement. And as you see, our rewarded ad ID is currently empty. So we need to fill up this rewarded ad ID with our rewarded ad ID advertisement. If you do not know how to create this rewarded ad inside the AdMob dashboard, please refer to my previous video where I show you how to create these types of ad, and then you will be able to find the rewarded ad ID. So for now I will use just the test ID which I have. So I will just copy my test ID and then paste. So this test ID is publicly available on the website, on the AdMob website. So I will just save everything now. So make sure you put this app ID. You can get the same as me if you like, type from the screen, but you can also get on the AdMob. So here it is, the website, and as you see, you have all of this app ID for the rewarded video as well. So here is the link, developers.google.com AdMob Android test ads, and you can get all of the ID if you don't have it created yet. Okay, so you can grab this number and then paste it here, and make sure the test device is checked. And now we can go to the file and then save, and now we can build our game. So I will go to the build file and then build and run. I have my Samsung Galaxy connected, so I will just build my game now. So as you can see, I have my game on my mobile phone. Let me hit the play, easy, and then I have my banner and I have the hint button, so get hint, and now I have my rewarded ad, so player have to watch the ad until it's completed. So now it's fine. If I press X, actually I press the banner. If I press X, the number has been added and my get hint button is grayed out, so I cannot place any more hints. So there will be just one hint in our game. So let me just go back. Let's play again. And let's find which number I've added. So let's get hint. And as you see, the get hint is not working now. This is because you need to give a time for next advertisement to be requested. So if there is no advertisement, the get hint button will not work and the number will be not added. So we need to wait for the AdMob to actually serve you with another ad. Let me go back, play again, and let's see if we can get another advertisement. Okay, seems like there is a small issue with this. So I think I'm gonna make another video and we can improve this implementation a bit. So I think because this video is already over 30 minutes, I think the next video we're gonna fix a few issues with this implementation, and then I will fix this button on the mobile device. So currently you have to actually close the game, open the game again, and this button will work only for the first time. So we're gonna fix this issue. And then if you find any other issue with this game, please let me know in the comments below. I have a few features already requested, so I'm gonna make another videos from that features. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in the next episode.